All right, here we go. Episode 3, Season 2. I'm a businessman. Myself, Novell Provo, a.k.a. Vel Smooth, and...
Cravel Beals, Veli,
Yes.
Cravel, CB Veli, all of it.
This episode is brought to you by Rich Wax. Shout out Rich Wax.
Hey,
the
Rich
number
Wax.
one vaginal boutique in the HRM. Just opened up a second location over there on Barrington Street. The number one place for vaginal products. Waxing, steaming,
oils.
vaginal products, everything you need. Ladies, listen. Cuffing season's coming. We want to keep it right down there. So holla at Rich Wax. And fellas, you got a little shorty.
Perfect gift.
You know
It's
what I'm
the
saying?
Perfect gift.
For you and for her, if you know what I'm saying. So shout out to Rich Wax for bringing this episode to life. Give him a call, richwax.com. Today, we're chatting about generational wealth. You know, we had a conversation last week about, making that transition from the streets to business and a lot of those things there. And, really what that vision looks like. And generational wealth is a term we hear a lot. It's the goal for a lot of us. Like I said, it's a word that you hear a lot in business and in the community. But we really want to break it down to talk about what it means, what it looks like, how do we bring it to life, all that stuff. So, generational wealth. What when you hear that, what does that mean to you?
I mean, before I go into that, I think, generational wealth, it's like a hot topic lately. You know what I mean? Like, you hear that word so much, like you said, it just seems to be thrown out there.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's one of those, like, kind of cool words now that everyone's kind of like, I'm just trying to create generational wealth, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you see it so much, but it's like, all right, cool, well, let's zone in. What does that really mean? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for you? It might mean two different things, right? So, what does it mean to me? Like, what does generational wealth mean to me? One word, longevity, right? I think, how can I create wealth throughout generations to follow, right? What can I do to help kind of foundation or cement that? Unfortunately, I wasn't born into a generational wealth situation. Financially. So I'm basically the starting block for that, for my generations to follow. One of the things that was passed down to me though was love.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Some principles, some values, some family values. So I think, depending on how you look at it, right?
And that's a major point. The definition that I found, of generational wealth is wealth that can be transferred from generation to generation within a family, right? So you got assets, cash, businesses, anything of that sort. But another side that doesn't really get talked about a lot is those intangible pieces, right? So contacts,
right?
Lessons, and that's a lot of the things we've seen in the black community being passed down that we got to hold and really bring to life.
A lot of times we didn't have much else to pass, so we
got
gotta pass something. If I'm gonna pass you, I gotta pass you something.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm gonna give you them lessons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you about Granddaddy and the shit that he went through. Right.
So let's chat a bit about that. In our family specifically, though, let's keep it there. Again, and in a lot of black communities, we ain't have money. We just come from slavery and then come from segregation, and now we are we are those founding fathers,
right? 100%.
Right. The world's we still going through challenges, but it's a little more balanced now for us to bring businesses to life. But we were passed down from our pops, from our grandparents, from our mom, a lot of those intangible things. Let's chat a bit about that. What do you see there?
Probably the number one lesson I've ever learned in my life, that I feel that was passed on to my dad that he gave to me was, manners and respect that you around the world and back. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's something that, like, sticks out to me, yourself, our brothers. And I think that he lives it. You know what I mean? Like, my dad lives that. Like, he just showed people respect and manners, and I see how much he get. And so I think that was one of the biggest lessons, for me. That I feel like that was given to him and then passed on to carry forward the generations. And that's something that I want to make sure that my kids understand. I'm always on their ass, like when they pull up in places, like if they ain't speaking, if they ain't being polite, you know what I mean? So that's one of those, like, I feel like, that's that $1 million thing. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, that's the one thing for sure. There's a bunch. Yeah. But that's one that definitely, sticks out to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge. Like, so many lessons, so many intangible things. That one being crucial. I remember coming upstairs or coming to a room and not saying hi to everyone in the room.
Yeah.
and ready to get punched in the face from Pops or whoever, because that was such a key piece. And in one of his famous sayings, manners and respect will take you around the world again. And secondly, from Pops, I think the contacts, right? I look at the position I'm in now.
Straight.
100% it came from his contacts. I remember we say it all the time, the story of, you go anywhere in the world, man, and you tell someone you're from Scotia, and they ask you, Putty?
Right.
Like, I know, that's my Pops.
Yeah.
Putty's your dad? You Putty, son?
Yeah,
you put it on your album, and right there instantly, whoever that person's in, I'm tapped into them now, just from the relationship he's built with them, the things he's done for them. And I remember going to Toronto, and I got on basketball teams from being, or I got that first intro, or that first love, or that first
I got the opportunity to prove who I was because of who he was.
Straight.
You know what I mean? It's that, when you think about people that talk about, like, who raised you.
Straight.
You know what I mean?
Straight.
Like, people talk about that shit all the time, and I think, like, a lot of times it's always seen as a negative.
Yep.
Like, man, like, who raised that guy? Like, that guy. You know what I mean? But, like, in the reverse, and luckily in our situation, like, that was like a lead up. That was like we a prerequisite. Like, Putty's my dad. You know what I mean? And like you said, a lot of times it was like, I'm from Scotia. Do you know Putty? Like, people would ask that, and it's like, not only do I know him, like, that's my dad. So, like, that kind of, it eliminates a lot of stuff. Like, people get to know what creed you come from.
Straight.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, if somebody said, like, if we go talking about business, and you pull up to a job interview, and they were like, whatever, and your name is Jason Sobeys.
Straight.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that would have, like, opened up a lot more doors. And so I think,
1,000%.
From that point of view, like, in the black family, we ain't had much. So what we did pass on, depending, was valuable as well, right? And I think just really owning that and accepting that as the truth, I think that's really important, because that's kind of what generational wealth is. You know what I mean? Like, it's passing on some shit, right? So, shout out to Pops, man. I think as we go through, these episodes, you'll learn a lot more about us, and if you know him, like, we cut from that same cloth. You know what I mean? Like, we got some differences and shit like that, but the core foundations there exist, right? Mom too, like, the family, like, it's just we come from, we're blessed to be from the family that we come from.
A strong core.
You know what I mean?
And like you said, a lot of lessons, from Mom, hard work, dedication, to see her put in work and never stop. All those things kind of transfer
Be
down.
genuine.
Straight.
You know what I mean?
Straight.
Like, from Mom, one of the things I would say from her is just her genuineness.
Nothing
but
love for everybody.
It's real. It ain't, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's so real that, like, she can't even fake it if she don't like you.
Yeah.
And
one of the things, from us, growing up, a lot of the lessons were taught from seeing.
Right.
So, our house, our grandmother's house, I probably had growing up about 10 or 15 different people live in our house.
Right.
So seeing it, and anyone would come in, even more like staying in weekends, but there's actually people that lived in for sure. Period. So people would be in need, or I just need a place to stay for 2 weeks or whatever, and our doors were always open. You could always get a meal. You could always, and they bring you in, and shit, we going to Toronto. Well, everyone's coming to Toronto, right? And it's time to eat. Everybody's eating, and it didn't matter who you were, or if once you come amongst,
you become
that
family,
love was shared,
sure.
right? And those lessons, we now live and embody that today. So,
and I think before you even go to the next piece, like, one of the things, because at the end of the day, like, we're having these conversations, but people are listening. Like, the idea is that, you're sitting at home driving, whatever you're doing, you're listening. And I think, take some time and really kind of, like, hone in on the things that are core values from your family and your surroundings that are being passed on to you. What was given to you?
Yeah, because often I don't think we give that credit.
Right.
We think, oh shit, man, my parents didn't give me nothing.
Right.
They didn't give me no money.
Right.
They didn't give me no land.
Right.
But these intangible things that can be repurposed and turned into something
100%
are super valuable. So first we got to acknowledge them, and then we can appreciate them. Then we can take action on them. Right. So that's a good piece, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, while we're still here, we have received some tangible assets, land.
100%. Shout out to Lester Beals.
Lester Beals, who came from
Henry Beals.
So boom, Henry Beals. Back in the day, North Prussia. You know the story a little deeper. There was a plot of land given out to all families. Henry Beals, somehow the land got passed down to his son. Lester Beals, who then passed the land down to his wife when he died.
He passed. It just went to his heirs, like
Peggy,
his wife,
and his daughter Karen.
Yeah.
And now we're a part of that land and got some plans for that land. So we just quickly
100%.
kind of chat about that.
Yeah, and I think again, like, it was kind of those, like, we fumbled on that shit.
Yeah,
Like a lot of times, like, you know, well, frig, like black people in Nova Scotia specifically, like, you know, they fought and they were awarded land. Like that was kind of one of the trade-offs. Like, we're going to fight for you. We're going to get awarded land. And so people would settle and all that stuff. And so, you know, along the line, our generation, like somebody, you know, North Preston, the community, like that belongs to all of us, right? Like that wasn't, you know, project land. That was like, that was land given to them. That was theirs, you know what I mean? And so along the lines and stuff like that, like I think it's important that if nothing else, we tap in, like this generation, we tap into that one asset that was inherited, like that we automatically inherit. So I think, you know, that's the part of the generational wealth.
Yeah.
That's a beginning stage of it. Like they ain't making no more land. So I mean, that's the most valuable asset that you could have.
People are doing the most for land right now, right? And the fact that, you know, when we got a lot of plans, but we're looking at the land and access to the lake and all these things. We on a gold mine, right? And
shout out Miss Star.
Shout out Miss Star.
She said, you're living in a land of money.
Land of money. Land of money.
Yeah,
and that's real shit. So it's like, this is the start of the generational wealth. So again, you know, we're just trying to take inventory of all the pieces we got, from land to lessons to blessings.
Straight.
Okay, boom. Let's hone it. Let's hold it down. Let's figure out the proper deeds and everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And let's make some plans, whether we building our houses, whether we building apartment building, whether we building Sobeys.
Even if it's parks.
Straight.
Right? Like if you own it, you should possess it. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's yours, possess it. It has value. Take possession. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the North Preston land. We on it. Yeah. Right now we're in a place called the Great Wealth Transfer. The Great Wealth Transfer. So 10,000 baby boomers, and we hear baby boomers a lot, so I just wanted to explain what baby boomers are. World War II, after World War II, all the people came home, the wives were waiting, they start shacking up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a baby boom. There was a big population of kids that came from that time, whatever it was, 1945. So there was a huge population.
They was missing the boo. They come back from overseas and there was the war. They were getting busy.
The war man wasn't pulling out.
Yeah, they were getting busy.
So it was a ton of kids from that era. So, you know, basically right now, like I said, 10,000 of them are turning 65 every day.
Ooh.
So over the next 20 years, there's in the next 20 years, it's predicted to have $30 trillion worth of wealth transferred to their children. So they're calling it the Great Wealth Transfer. Right. And that's all through generational wealth.
Damn.
So, yeah, $30 trillion passed down from old people to their kids in the next 20 years. When you hear that, what do you think? What comes to mind? What's your first reaction to that?
I mean, you know, 30, it's crazy because a lot just went through my head. So last week we were talking about how, you know, the streets is such a small pie of the world money. You know what I mean? So, like, we're talking $30 trillion that's just being transferred. It ain't 30 trillion in the streets. You know what I mean? So that was, like, one of the first things that come to mind. But then the second thing that came to mind was, like, I started thinking, like, I done had some dead grandparents. You know what I mean? Like, right? I done had some dead grandparents, and that's the reality. Like we asked out when it comes to wealth, financial wealth being transferred. You know what I mean? Like to the next generation. So that was kind of the like second thing, you know. And man, 30 trillion. 30 trillion, bro. Just from living, just showing up. You just showed up, right? Yeah.
Transferred over. Yeah. So, you know, it's a huge transfer. So, you know, the world's going to change and how we see. Because, again, you know, here's the money in this older generation's hand. Okay,
they ain't spending it.
They ain't spending it. And when they do spend, they buy certain products. Man, them niggas buying retirement homes and vacations and whatever they buy.
Pampers.
They're not buying cryptocurrencies. They're not buying Instagram ads. They're not buying places that young people would buy. Right. So when you
opportunity.
It's opportunity. That's the first thing that comes to my mind is opportunity. So we're gonna see a shift in how we spend our money because different people are spending that money.
Right. Straight.
Right. And I think also, you know, when I first hear that is, and the second side I have is with before that there's $350 billion. There's $350 billion transferred per year through generational wealth. So that's the average stat.
Right.
Every year is $350 billion transferred.
Wow.
So, you know, one, it's a huge industry.
Right.
People make a lot of money. What do they call the lawyers that handle
probates and all that shit.
You know, all those kind of people that do that
the
work.
The
bank. You know what I'm saying?
The bank's everywhere,
Bank
bro.
is touching everything. That's why if you go in any city, we talk about this a lot. Every building that's the biggest is the bank.
The big building is the bank.
Big building is the bank. They got the most money. Yeah. But again, that transfer is a huge opportunity to play in the middle, to make that transfer happen. There's a huge opportunity to position yourself from a business standpoint to say, okay, the world's going to look different. Where this money's going to be spent in different places.
Right. Instantly.
As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be a lot of mishandling.
100%.
Right? So,
100%.
It's coming from this generation. A lot of their kids probably ain't ready, and they're going to be hitting the strip club, hitting the casino,
private jets,
doing the most.
Instagram moments. People are living Instagram moments. So
it's gonna be real.
I mean? So yeah, that's crazy, and it's so like that's why I like you'll go find some weird ass stat and be like, holy shit, like $30 trillion is about to be transferred just from showing up. Just from 350 billion a year. Mm-hmm. Like Jeff Bezos ain't even got 350 billion.
He ain't got
so
that.
Like Jeff Bezos times 2 is being transferred every year just from showing up, and so to me that's big opportunity, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important for specifically who knows who's listening to this podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
But whoever you are, it's important when you can kind of just take a moment. I think, it's important to take moments to think about some shit.
Exactly. And that's all ultimately what we're trying to do here with different convos, different topics is, put something on your mind that you might not have really thought of in a way before.
Yeah.
And bring some stats to get you thinking even more, and shit, we got our ideas and our opportunities, and we just want to help nurture yours.
Yeah.
Someone might take that shit and friggin' create, I don't know what the hell they're going to create.
Yeah.
An app that, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That plays into that. Just holler at us on the back end.
Straight.
And, give us 2% royalties or something, but do your thug dizzle. A lot of things happening in the world. The world is changing, so it's important. And that's why I appreciate having these convos, because I wouldn't have dug into that if I didn't, if we didn't have this plan.
Yeah.
So, start to think about these things and start to research these things and position ourselves in ways to win, whether it's the stocks we buy, the businesses we create. There's a stock that will win from we don't got to create the business, but we can invest in the industries that will win from
that happening,
that transfer.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, to the people that are listening, and you're about to be that inheritance. You're about to be that person that run into that money. Don't waste it. You know what I mean? That's an opportunity that I would kill for, essentially.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To have been born into money. To just show up at the game and I got 50 points. You know what I mean?
Different game, man.
Yeah, so
Imagine
I think don't waste those opportunities. And for the people that haven't been afforded that opportunity, let it start with you.
Straight.
You know what I mean? Let somebody feel that feeling, what it was like to be a part of so and so's generations.
Imagine that.
You know what I mean? That's big shit.
We're gonna tap into that a little later too. Pull some different names up and talk about that piece of, what will that look like in 100 years for my grandkids to remember, my great grandkids. Yeah, Neville, great grandfather Neville built this for us, right? So that's huge.
You die 2 deaths,
straight,
right? You die when when you actually physically die, and you die the last time somebody called your name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's a good segue to the next kind of questions I got. 100-year family plans, right? We talk about it a lot. I think it's super prominent in the Asian community,
right?
And it's basically, families create written plans for their family for 100 years.
Yeah.
And here's why. One reason is to protect that asset that we created. We work, so imagine us, we grind so hard to build these businesses. The great wealth transfer happened. We transferred it to our kids, but we ain't giving them no roadmap.
Right.
So it's worth $10 million. Let's just sell it.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't want that. We want you to keep building it and hold it. So, talk a bit about 100-year plans and your thoughts around that.
Well,
and what it looks like.
Let's go 100 years back. So we 2021. So let's go back to 1921, and then let's look up our line. You know what I mean? Were they really thinking about us?
No.
You feel what I'm saying?
No.
Not, and I mean, because where we come from too, they were given nothing, and they made it into something.
They just needed to survive for themselves today.
Right.
We couldn't even have a chance. I couldn't even think about myself in 10 years. Right. Now I'm thinking about, I don't even know if we're going to be here for 100 years.
Exactly, right? So they did things they got the roads paved. They created roads. They all that shit. They did all those things. And so, here we are. We just kind of falling into place.
Yep.
But now we kind of got here by chance, by the grace of God and by some hard work and labor of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's they didn't really tell us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so now we're here and we got it, and it's like, frig, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna kill this guy. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like him. He stepped on my shoes. So it's like they didn't really tell us what to do. It wasn't written. It's not nowhere. Like, we can't go nowhere and look up a plan for our family to be like, what should we do now?
It's like the land we receive. So,
right.
You know, right now we got the land. We're creating plans
right.
for the land. Matter of fact, we even had to go through a couple little things to fully own it within the circle or whatever. But, you know, now it's like, shit, we're here. We got this, 7 acres, and it's like, what do we do? And now we're creating that plan, but there's no, you know, there's no plan on to that, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, you go 100 years back. Okay, now we're here. All right, shoot. Well, we got here kind of a little bit of chance.
Yeah.
So now to go 100 years forward, we need a plan.
Straight.
You know what I mean? Like, if we don't have a plan, we're not going to hit. We're not going to hit it. So then my generations will be lost. And like you said, like, I work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I put in real work. And so when I'm putting in that work, I get it. I understand everybody don't have the mind that I have. Everybody don't have the same drive that I have. And definitely, like, real shit, my kids ain't going to have it unless I give it to them.
Exactly.
And so, okay, cool. Here, take this plan. Let's sit down, talk to it. When you get of age, if I happen to die before that, here's at least a beginning plan. You know what I mean? But if when you get of age, we're going to sit down. What does life mean for you?
Yeah.
Here's what I want, but what do you want? You know what I mean? And we start designing it out and writing it out so that we have a roadmap. If we're trying to go to Vancouver and we ain't never been to Vancouver, we never driven to Vancouver, and we don't have a map, we're not going to make it to Vancouver.
And I think that's a key piece that you mentioned. You know, it's important for these families that have been doing it for centuries to do it on their own, right? To like you said, they understand the power of a plan. I think it's even more important for us as communities that haven't had these opportunities to have wealth transferred and passed down to have a plan, because we're going to uncharted territories. Right. So, you know, and again, this message too for the people that we chat about generational wealth. We say we want to create generation. We say all these things. Where's our plan? So let's let's look to create those 100-year plans. Let's write it down. It don't got to be crystal clear.
No,
because again, we go into uncharted territories. But let's look what it could look like. Where do we see the trends? Where do we see the world going? You know, what businesses do we think that can last? Because, you know, a good thing I read the other day. We always think about what will change. Right. We don't never really think about what's not going to change.
What will change.
And sometimes what's not going to change is the best places to be. And the best way to think. What business can I create? Jeff Bezos, he has an annual meeting every year and he asks his shareholders, what's not going to change? Right. And when they look at what's not going to change, well, people are always going to want fast delivery. Yeah. So he invests all his money in fast delivery. People are always going to want cheaper goods. Yeah. So they're always finding cheaper goods. And that's a staple in their business that he knows. No one's never going to want slower delivery.
Right. We don't want what's next. We want what's staying.
Exactly. Right. So, you know, putting our assets and our thoughts there. So the same with the 100-year plan. Yeah. Let's start to look and formalize and break down what life could look like in 100 years for our, because 100 years is only two generations. That's your grandkids.
Two people be 50,
right? That's your grandkids. You probably be gone, but you know your child will still be.
I was born in '88.
Yeah,
my kids will be alive in 2088.
Straight.
You know what I mean? Like, real shit. My daughter, the youngest, 5. And she'll be living like that's 60. Yeah. That's 60 some years. God's willing, she should be 69. She ain't even 70. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so, like,
she should be kicking around.
Yeah, that's 100 years. Like, I should be at least able to get you guys to that place. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's real. It's important.
No, 100%.
Right, and start at the end. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, go to the vision board. Like, start at the end. What's the target? Yeah, and then we work our way back.
And that's a good point. I think that the other part of why it's important is I can't see it if I can't be it. We're going to probably say that every week. But even for myself, you know,
I can't be it if I don't see it.
I can't beat it if I don't see it. You know, with myself, I did a 75 hard challenge. I had to visualize myself at the end of the challenge, losing weight and have my abs and all that shit. And that helped propel me forward to stay on it. So same with the 100-year plan. We talking generational wealth. But if we got a plan that's written and you know, we know we can achieve it, that makes getting up in the morning a little easier. It comes back to that strong why. That makes those times when it's like, man, fuck this shit. Are we ready to quit? Yeah. Nah, we can't quit because I'm building something for my grandkids in 100 years. And I think that foundation and having that plan, you know, it only adds positivity to what you're trying to build.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. The next piece, you know, that we want to tap into, we mentioned it a bit within the 100-year family plan, is protecting that family wealth. So, you see in a lot of communities, a lot of families, whether it's, we're going to bring Asians, a lot of Asian communities, Indian communities, etc. A big part of, what they do is teaching their kids, educating their kids, having their kids work in a business, having their kids involved and really being concerned with who the business is being passed down to, what child won. I see that in a lot of, I did a family business course for a while, and a lot of discrepancy happens there where, okay, the daughter and the son, they're competing to get whatever. But even a step further, a lot of times it goes as deep as my son has to marry a specific person,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They can't just marry any willy-nilly off the street.
Yeah.
You got to connect with another family or someone that has values that can add to what we're trying to do. Because, again, we got a 100-year plan. It's going to be hard to let, my daughter, whenever that day comes, to just marry anyone and fuck that off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's your what do you think about that when you hear that?
Yeah, it's crazy because, we talk about, like, we live in a free world and all these things, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, do I really want to tell you who you should marry and who you should be in love with?
Yeah.
No, I'm not telling you the specific person, but what I am giving you is some advice on the type of person that you should possibly try to allow yourself to fall in love with. Because, we see it happen all the time. People with high potential end up dating these weirdo people that have no values in their life, and they end up kind of throwing their lives away. Friendships, you know what I mean? Like, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. So if you're, you got to be mindful of the people that you spend the most of your time with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, if you're talking about, like, joining in marriage and creating families and stuff like that shit matters, especially when you come from some shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all good if you ain't got nothing. Yeah. Like, if you don't want nothing, cool. But if you come from some shit, I think, it definitely matters to create a person that you want to entangle with.
Yeah, and I think it's just worth the convo because growing up, again, we don't come from that, so I never understood when you're watching certain movies and Romeo and Juliet, and it's like we don't. You can never marry that family.
Yeah, big beef.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Crazy beef. Or you look at certain situations within arranged marriages. And things like I'm not saying I'm a proponent of it, but I can understand the thought process behind it.
We protecting what we
built it, and you said a good point. Even friends. I got to be concerned who you hanging out with because I know myself. If you hang with 5 broke niggas, you the 6. Right? So
or you're going to be.
You're going to be the 6. So,
shout out to the little homie.
Little hope, exactly. But it's important to, protect our assets. Yeah. And a big part of protecting our assets are the relationships that they build, the relationships they form, all those things. And again, I'm not saying we can force that on our kids, but it's an important piece to note, and I can understand the sentiment from this is how these families have existed for
this is the blueprint.
Centuries.
You know what I mean? This is the blueprint.
These
are the things, because again, it's like we're taking away all these improbable things, all the things that like could ruin this 100-year plan.
Straight.
So this is just one of them. Like, you know what I mean? And I think, the other part of it is like Prince Charming, he goes and meets the girl and he brings her into this wonderful, illustrious world. Right? Like, if you're not, and this is, take inventory. If you're not a leader, do not, and you come from money, like if you're not a leader and you come from money, do not marry somebody who don't.
Straight.
Because they're going to lead you down a broke path. Yeah. So if you're a leader and, then you get to choose love. It's unfortunate that we got to say shit like that. But like, if you're a leader, if you know how to lead yourself and take charge, man, female, don't matter. If you know how to take charge and you come from money, well, then you can kind of bend the rules a little bit. But if you're not a leader, if you know you're not a leader, if you don't have a strong backbone and a strong-willed person, don't marry somebody who's don't come from money, because they're going to poke holes in your balloon, and eventually by the time you get up the street, the water's going to be, they're going to be coming up with all these crazy ideas on trips, and you know what I mean, all-star game, let's buy the VIP box and all that shit. Like, I fuck with all kind of people on the daily that got broke mindsets, and it's crazy because the more I grow my mind, the more I look at them like, man, like, really? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still want to do that shit? Right? And so it's like, but I'm a leader. I know that I am a leader. So if nothing else, I'm going to lead me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you're not a leader and you come from money, you got to be real mindful about that. So like when you're drawing out that family plan, you got to trickle that in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, got to have contingencies in relationships.
Exactly.
Right?
And building those foundations, you know, those are the intangible ones, right? Those are the ones, you know, our parents built leadership in us. Those are the ones we go hard on our kids. You know, and when I say our kids, they got my brothers got kids, and I'm on them. Right. I feel like I'm an uncle.
Straight.
So it's like, okay, boom.
Takes a village.
We're hard on them on leadership, and man, what you mean? Homies made a decision and
you just followed.
You just said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
but you knew the decision wasn't right. Like that shit.
Yeah.
We bang on that over it. And then it didn't even matter what you did.
Yeah.
But it's the principle behind what you did, because we know what we're trying to build here, and we know when the helm becomes yours, you can't be just following everybody.
No.
Because it's not going to work.
No.
Right.
We're building something for you to kind of take the reins of it and take control of, for sure.
Exactly. So yeah, no, that piece is huge. Transitioning a bit. You know, there's some prominent families, some prominent generational wealth within the Nova Scotia community. You know, the Sobeys, the Wilsons. We chatted last week about the Leahy family. Irving. And, you know, I wanted to kind of share some of their stories a bit just to understand how generational wealth created and what it's looked like. And, you know, in Nova Scotia, we were second class, like not even blacks, like, you know, when we think of history, they came from Scotland. They were looking to build their own life, and you know, they were the second-class citizens that grinded and made shit happen. And it wasn't like kings and lords came here and they had us. Like, nah, those were the people that
stayed,
that didn't have it and stayed in Europe, and they came and they started from the bottom,
straight,
right? But they had their little head start compared to the rest of us, but they still started from the bottom. And, you know, I think that piece is huge. So, you know, the first family I dug into is the Sobeys family. So they landed here in about 1880. William, he met up with his wife. To now, to date, we know Sobeys, the large grocery retailer. Got about 1,500 stores across the country. So in 1907, William Sobeys buys meat from farmers and takes it to the market to resell.
All right.
So one day he just like, shit, man, like, there's no meat in the market. So he goes, but he knew the farmers.
Right.
So he went and hollered at the farmers. 1907. He was in, where was he at? In Nova Scotia, but like a little
probably
region.
Like Pictou or something.
One of them
like
Pictos or something. So boom, buys meat from the farmers, goes to the market and sells. He's doing that for years. Right. Finally opens a store, but he's just selling meat.
Straight.
Just grind meat. Cows, pigs, whatever. People need meat. He has a son. 1924. His son is 16 years old. His name's Frank Sobey. That's the guy that we see everywhere. So Frank, at 16, convinces his pops to add fresh vegetables into the store.
Produce.
He's like, man, pops, like, we've been doing the meat for a while. He's 16. But, like, people always come asking for veggies.
Right.
Let's get some veggies in here.
Right.
His pops was a little reluctant, like, we don't do veggies.
Yeah.
We don't do veggies, whatever. They got his old mindset, but his son was on it. Matter of fact, I think his son read somewhere, his son even, like, brought some veggies from a farmer one day and just had them there, and he
slang them up the trunk.
Slang them. Not even slang them. He had them there, and, like,
let his pops.
He didn't even tell the pops that they were in. So all the pops know, people come to the cashier saying, "Can I get these veggies?"
Yeah, give me a couple dollars. He ain't saying
nothing. So pops seen, like, okay, veggies are slanging.
Yeah.
Son is right. All right, go get some veggies. So boom, added some veggies in. And then they just kept building and building and building and building and building to now today. Sobeys is worth $25.1 billion in Canada, one of the largest and richest families in Canada. And here's the next piece. So the original Sobey, he ran it, then the son ran it, and then his son ran it as CEO. After that, the company became so big, now they're just hiring. We hiring CEOs, board of directors.
Yeah.
So now the family still owns majority, but they're not. None of the families involved in the day-to-day operations.
They over in Greece somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? So
you know
whoever the great granddaughter is now, Clarice Sobey.
Right.
She
just born in the money.
You know, she got billions, but she chilling. She not doing no work. She might come to an annual meeting to hear what's going on, but
come do some handshakes.
They got trusted advisors and people. The business is running. The machine is going.
Yeah.
All from Pops
Yeah.
Buying and selling meat, and she's sitting on billions just chilling.
On that Drake shit.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. We listen to Started from the Bottom. Now we here. We be talking about like we was eating noodles and now we got 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers started from the bottom. Now we here.
Now we
and
here.
It's 20-something billion.
And that's 19. That's a little more than 100 years.
100-year plan. You know what I mean?
And they created $25.1 billion worth of wealth.
Yeah.
In that time frame.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's why I'm saying, like, so whatever you fall at in that, are you first Sobe, second Sobe, third Sobe, 13th Sobe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, wherever you're at in that kind of generational wealth plan, you have a position to play.
Straight.
You know what I mean? And so, like, a lot of the people that we would be talking to, myself included, we're at the beginning of the plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if anywhere along the way, like, if second Sobe ain't really kind of envisioned out, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would have just fell off. When Pops would have died, the meat market died.
Straight.
Boom, starting back from the bottom. You know what I mean? So, like, it's always about, building on that something and bringing your kids in. You know what I mean? Like, you got to, like, my kids all work at the kitchen.
Yep.
My nephew work at the kitchen. It's the easiest job to get if you come from our bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, not to say we'll kick no one out, but, like, we'll kind of pull someone, we'll take less pay.
Yeah.
Because we need you in that environment. You know what I mean? We need you to understand what it's like so you can kind of get into that like situation of like feeling what it is to kind of serve and make money and all that stuff, right? So, it's real life.
Yeah, and it's a key piece. And, I really love hearing that story. I'm sure if we dug into the Wilson, the Irvings, any family, that the story's similar.
Yeah.
Right? One man or woman having an idea or just doing something for need, grinding it out. Son comes, takes it to another level.
Yeah.
Next son comes, take it to a whole nother level. Now it's in a level so big, we just here.
Yeah,
right?
And I think too, like, those are just the popular ones.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
those are the huge ones.
Yeah, like you don't have to be a household brand name. Like, you could just have. There's people in this world that got money.
There's a lot of names.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, it's just people that got money, but it's usually old money.
Yeah.
Like, the new money we learn about quick. Like, the world we live in, like, they pull up on the internet quick. Oh, so-and-so just rose up the ladder. But, like, a lot of people, there's some rich people in this world, generationally rich people.
Yeah.
That it's old money.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they got that money that been in their family, and they just maintain it.
Yeah. And I think a big piece, and why I appreciate the 100-year plan as well, because it takes time to build wealth.
Yeah.
So let's even think of 100 years from an investment standpoint, right? I think we chatted about it, and I made a video about I think it might have been, if you start at 25 and at age 60, you'd have $1.6 million if you invest in an index fund that pays 10% annual interest a year.
And it was like, what, $100 or something, a paycheck or something?
$100 a week, so $400 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So now imagine if we create a family trust where $400 from one person might be challenging.
Yeah.
But $600 from a family of 10.
Right.
A month is damn near
easy. It's easy
75.
work.
It's a Netflix subscription.
Right.
So boom. Imagine we're contributing $600. Let's keep it math simple. $1,000 a month from a family of 10. $100 per person.
$1,200 a year.
$1,200 a year.
Wait, $12,000 a year.
$12,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's
$12,000
at 10% annual interest. I don't got my calculator here, but in 100 years, we're sitting on multi-millions.
Yeah.
Probably upwards of the 50.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're not doing
nothing. We're just putting into this account that
the cheap plan
we're investing into the market.
Yeah, and it's a small sacrifice, and I think that's the biggest thing. Nothing worth having comes without sacrifice.
And the next piece that I really appreciate as well about that sacrifice, and a part what we're bringing our youth in, is it's hard for us right now. Like, niggas is grinding because that initial phase is challenging. I'm sure Mr. What's his name? William Sobe. It was hard for him.
Yeah.
Taking the meat. He was grinding.
Yeah.
Getting the meat from here and taking it here and running his own store. But he put in that work.
Yeah.
And went through that challenge and dug into that initial phase. That's the hardest part of building something. And, pass it on to his child who had it a bit easier. He still had to put some work and had to elevate it, but he had the tools and he had a base and he had a structure that made it a little more easier. Now, for the next guy, man, it's okay. I got good education, and I have this huge thing built. Shit, now I'm just plugging in, right?
I'm sitting back and watching,
and this now we want to create what our kids okay, shoot, here we put the work in. We built this foundation, and we want to, mind you, we trying to build a big foundation. Yeah. We trying to enjoy some shit while we here too. Right. We got our own aspirations.
We on a super plan.
You know what I'm saying? we trying to speed it up 10 times.
Yeah.
Okay, boom. Now here you get it. It's a little less on. You don't got to go through these challenges and through these struggles and through these shit. Should I play over here? Should I? It ain't even a question.
You're so far removed from that.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Like, we ain't talking about survival no more.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, we ain't talking about survival.
We're talking abundance.
Right.
I was looking the other day, like, I didn't have the survival that, my parents or their parents had. But shit, we still in survival. Like, and I looked at, how I live. Like, I keep my car on E.
Right.
And I got money.
Right.
But it's just that feeling of putting gas in, because I looked at my parents, man, they was always on E.
Yeah, that bank
you know what I'm saying? It was like they couldn't just fill up my mom only filled the whip when it was payday.
Once a week.
Right? When she got paid. So like any other day is like, nah, and just all those kind of habits that we've created.
Those
now.
poor mindsets.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the part too, like,
get some money. I'm so excited. Go spend something.
Go spend it. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Because we don't have a plan. We're not working to it. Like now, like I find, and I come from, I gamble a lot. Like I used to gamble, and I find myself always back and forth and that shit. But I'm so aware and conscious now of, like, I've been doing research on gambling, and I find I always go back to gambling when I get kind of money bored. Like when the plan is going the way it's supposed to. You know what I mean? And I like excitement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, every time it will take me 2-3 months to realize, like, yo, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I think now it's 2 weekends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what? This just don't make no sense. Because I have that plan. I know what I'm working towards.
Yeah.
So I don't really have space in my life to deviate from that.
Yeah.
Because, like, shoot, like, if I miss this, like, and I'm trying to speed it up.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And so, like,
so it takes even more discipline and focus.
Right. And the part, it was something I wanted to touch on too when you talked about, like, the Sobeys and then the next guy, like William, and then the next dude, the second guy, I was like, yo, let's put some vegetables in it. The first dude was like, I need some money.
Straight.
Here's an opportunity. Let me eat.
Straight.
The second dude was like, I'm watching Pops work too hard.
Exactly.
And I know that it can be done easier. We could add some things into it. And so that's the thing. By you laying that foundation, man, your kids, bring them around the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when they wondering why daddy ain't around because daddy's working, they mind's thinking survival. What's best for me? I want dad to be able to be home a little bit more. So let me try to make his life a little bit easier. Kids are brilliant. You know what I mean? Like they're brilliant. So they're going to give you.
You're a lace. Yeah. Your daughter.
Yeah.
She's in the kitchen one day and she's been coming in and working and I can guarantee that, part of this conversation came from that. So yeah, she's just in there one day. I think we got drinks. We got drinks in we're a restaurant, so we got drinks in the to-go restaurant. We got drinks in the fridge. And she's looking. She's like, I wanna buy a lemonade. What'd she say? A lemonade machine.
Right.
Basically like a vending machine.
Right.
So boom. I'm like, shh. My eyes lit up.
Right.
Because when I hear that shit, it's like, what we're doing is hitting. And she's 5 years old.
5, yeah.
Right? So what we're doing is clicking. So I'm like, yeah, write it down. Write a plan down. Draw it out, whatever you got to do. And tell your dad. He's going to be super excited to hear this as well. And he's going to probably buy it for you.
Yeah.
So boom, she writes it down. And when she sees him, she said lemonade, so he just thought lemonade stand.
Right.
So when he came back, I asked him, like, did Lace show you the plan?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, she want to do a lemonade stand. Like, no, she don't want to do a lemonade stand. She wants to do a vending machine.
Vending machine, right.
She wants to do and we've been researching vending machine. We've been talking about passive income anyway, so vending machine came up. So I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh shit, yeah, we're gonna find it.
Exactly.
Boom, went and found it, and okay, boom, right. But the point of it is, that's an idea at 5. Right. She sees that and her brain just goes here. So, okay, now imagine when she's 8 and 9 and 10 or 20, and she's been in the business and the vending machine business launched, and she's seen that process, and her creativity and her ideas, we can't even understand them because it's gonna be so much bigger than what we can even think. And
they get a head start. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we like. in my bloodline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got, uncles and whatever that, they got a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My grandmother had a little bit of savings,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember like having to go and research understanding money.
Yeah.
I had to go to seminars. Like I spent a lot of money at a young age trying to learn about money.
Yeah.
Like I spent money to learn about money.
Right.
And I remember like it's only so much I know. Then you go to university, finance school, and like you come back with all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just add into it. And so like, the next generation, all the lessons that we got, they packaged for them already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They living through it. We ain't lived through it.
Yeah.
So when they come back, when they go, they're going to see it on a whole, it's exponential growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're going to see it on a whole nother level. So it's so important, like, to just start.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so important to just start. And it's so important to bring the people that are going to carry the baton, like, along with you.
Right.
Like, don't wait till it's time to pass the baton to give them the lessons. Allow them to watch your journey. Allow them to watch you practice. Allow them to watch you race so that when it's their time, they've seen that 1,000 times.
And
you know what I mean?
I think that's huge. And a big part, again, of, I tap into why I'm so visual with what I do, why I, show certain shit on Snap or show certain shit on Instagram or whatever. Some people hit me up. Most people appreciate it, but now I'll get the odd person. Man, I'm not flexing.
Right.
I'm trying to show, because here's what I seen. My family business, my generational wealth was streets.
Right.
Pimps, drug dealers. So, man, when I'm growing up, I would have been the biggest pimp ever.
Yeah.
The places, the ideas I had of seeing it and be like, man, that niggas could be online.
Right.
Oh,
right.
shit, man. I talk to girls either. I've had 6 girls.
Right.
Right. I'm gonna take it to this level.
Right.
But that's what I seen, and that's what my ideas went. And I this is what I was learning in this world. This creative social media, Twitter. Man, I'm gonna go deep, and it might be controversial. Every girl, let's get them on Twitter.
Yeah.
And social media, and let's build their brand up.
Right.
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 And now she ain't going every night here. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the call.
Yeah.
The guy over in Dubai seen her.
24-hour money.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he just sent 10 grand. So
yeah, it's exponential.
We trying to shift that narrative. I don't have to think there.
Right.
I had to learn here.
Right.
In a new world and get some new mentors and leaders.
Jay-Z said, nothing wrong with the aim. I just need a new target. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, niggas can aim.
Right? Like
we've been successful here.
We know how to do it.
Yeah.
We just need a new target. And so, and to your point, is like the reason why he's so visual, the reason why we're doing this podcast, because we understood what got us in this position. So we're fighting against that.
Straight.
We're saying, look, let's put some visuals. Let's put some shit in front of you. You know what I mean? Let's give you a different thought in front of you, like so that you could see different opportunities and options. This is what this is all about.
Straight.
It's just giving people a different visual. People who look like us, right? Who come from where we come from,
Straight.
who went to the school. Like this kid went to Nelson Winder. Like this guy's a product of North Preston. 100% product of North Preston. Everything that he does is a 100% product of North Preston. Both parents are from North Preston. He grew up in North Preston. He went to Nelson Winder School. He went through the route that everybody went through. So when you see him, see North Preston.
Straight.
So he has to be loud about the shit that he's doing, because we're banging against all these other things. And I ain't mad at nobody that's getting money doing whatever they're doing. What I'm saying is, look, let's just change the target.
Yeah.
We're talking about $30 billion
Come on, man.
being transferred from just showing up.
Come on, man. 30 trillion.
Trillion. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even say trillion on a
trillion
regular
with
day.
a T. Niggas don't even hear trillion.
Trillion. 30 trillion. That's like a lot of billions. So this is what the
Let's
fight
break
is
that
against.
down, actually. 30 trillion
Yeah.
is, so 1 trillion is 1,000 billions.
Damn. And 1 billion is 1,000 millions.
1,000 millions. So 30 trillion.
And 1 million is 1,000 thousands?
I can't even do the math.
Yeah, that's 1,000 thousands, bro. 1 million is 1,000 thousands.
So 1 million is 1,000 thousands.
1
billion
is 1,000 millions.
1 trillion is 1,000 billions. 30 trillion is 30,000 billions.
Damn. That's a big
or
number.
30,000 billions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just so big niggas don't know how to talk about it.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Right? And that's why it's like we just want to put ourselves in a position to play the long game. You feel what I'm saying? And we're going to end it like that. We're going to put ourselves in the position to play the long game for generations to come.
Straight.
We cannot do this in the same games that we've been historically participating in.
No.
It's impossible.
And like you said, the market's not even that big.
No.
So, like we said, the long game, generational wealth, 100-year plans, 30 trillion. Go home and think about that. Changing, we got the aim. Let's change the target. And that's what we're going to leave it at. Yeah. Another episode, another day. Much love. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good shit. Stay tapped in. We out.
Peace.